Welcome to part 2 of the Crochet Sanctuary Christmas Cal. You should have completed part 1. Just to reiterate, if you are just joining us or if you found this by accident, you will need the written pattern to complete this. Each row is just a tutorial of each repeat of the pattern. So you will need the written pattern. There is no way that you will be able to follow this without it. And the written pattern, sorry, there's a bird singing out there. The written pattern can be found on our Facebook page, and the link is actually below on this on the YouTube tutorial. So at the end of part 1, we finished on row 52. So we're going to be starting row 53. Part 2, we get to see some mosaic coming in. So there's a couple of new stitches that we didn't do in part 1. We've got some waves, we've got some really nice fat chunky bubbles, and we've also got the most gorgeous little Christmas trees that are done in mosaic crochet. So if you haven't done mosaic crochet before, this is a nice easy introduction to it, but we will walk you through some of those steps. So you should have completed your I'm gonna have to shut that door in a minute because that bird's just not going to shut up. You should have completed your lovely snowflakes, which is a little bit difficult to see in this light, and at the end of row 52 part 1 you should have switched over to yarn A, which for me is my red, and it's in a little ball because I've been doing some frogging. Anyway, so row 53 is a straight treble across with yarn A. So I've joined my yarn A, and I'm literally, just as a reminder for those that want it, it was to chain 2, oh, sorry, no, it was a chain 1, and it's literally a yarn over and work 1, I can't see, there we go, work 1 treble into each stitch across. So we're literally just working 1 treble in each stitch across, and we're going to carry that on throughout the rest of row 53. Row 54 is exactly the same. It's just a straight treble all the way across. It's not focusing, using your yarn A. Now I know we said this all the way throughout part 1. When you get to these straight rows where you've got a treble row or a half treble or a double crochet row, these are a good point for you just to count and check that you've got the right amount of stitches going across. You will need the right amount of stitches, especially when you get to the mosaic rows. So yeah, just keep working that treble all the way across for both row 53 and row 54. At the end of row 54, if you can change over to your yarn C. Yarn C for me is my Lincoln, because I am currently showing you the tutorial in Christmas morning yarn pack. So yeah, carry on with that, and I will see you at row 55. So see you there. Right, so you should have just completed row 53 and 54, and at the end of 54, these were just straight trebles, and at the end of 54 changed over to your yarn C, which for me is Lincoln, and you should have chained 1. So now what we're going to be doing is moving on to what Linda and I call the kisses rows. They're just crossed trebles really, but in previous cals they have caused a little bit of confusion on how they're done, so we just thought we'd do a brief tutorial on how to do them. So at the end of row 54 you should have chained 1. on the last yarn over. So row 55, we are going to work a treble into the first stitch. So that's just one, and so there's your treble, and then another treble. So that's 2 trebles to start off with. And then we're going to skip a stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch here, and we're going to work a treble into the next stitch just here. So treble into that next stitch, like that. Then the pattern says to treble into the skipped stitch. So we're just going to yarn over and treble into that skipped stitch there. And that is your crossed treble or kiss stitch. So that's it. We're just going to work that all the way across. So skip the next stitch, work a treble into the next, like that. That's all you're going to do all the way across into that skip stitch, just like that. So we're going to work that all the way across. At the end of that row, we're going to work that all the way across until you've got 3 trebles remaining. 3 stitches remaining. When you get to the last 3 stitches, just work 1 treble in each of the next 3 stitches, and on your last yarn over, we're going to change back over to yarn A, which for me is lipstick. So if you work these all the way across until the last 3 stitches, and just pop a treble in each of those last 3 stitches, and I will see you for row 56. See you shortly. Right, so we're now on to row 56. So you should have this green, well, in your yarn C row of kisses. You should, at the end of that, you should have had your 3 treble and changed over to your yarn A, depending on which colour weight that you are doing. So the start of row 56, so I've already done my chain 1. We are going to work 2 treble. So that's 1 treble in each of the first 2 stitches. And then we are going, now what you will find is that, and this looks nice, that these kisses will be slightly offset, and that is the look that we are going for. So you're going to skip a stitch and make a treble in the next, and then treble back into that first stitch, that first skipped stitch, and there's your first kiss. So skip a stitch, 1 treble into the next, and then treble into the skipped stitch. Skip a stitch, 1 treble into the next, 1 treble into the skipped stitch. So there you go. So your kisses are slightly off center, which is exactly what we are looking for, and you are just going to continue with that all the way across. At the end of row 56, you're going to change back over to your yarn B, which for me is cream. Row 57, you are going to work on the kisses stitches again, but you're going to finish off in yarn A. Row 58, you're going to work the same again, but in yarn A, finishing off in yarn C. Row 59, you are going to work the same stitches again, but in yarn C, and you're going to finish off on the last yarn over of row 59 in yarn A. So row 60 is just a straight treble row in yarn A, which for me is the lipstick red. Row 61 is another treble row in the same colour, but finishing off on the last yarn over with yarn C. Row 62 is again a treble all the way across in yarn C, but finishing off in yarn B. When you get to row 62, make sure that you have the correct number of stitches going all the way across, because this is your last treble row before we start the mosaic. And mosaic, like I say, row 62, you finish off on that last yarn over in yarn B, which for me is my cream. So I will carry on working on mine. So I've just shown you a bit of row 56, and I will come back to you on row 63 when we start the mosaic rows. So I'll see you then. Hello, we're back. We're now on to row 63. So you should have completed up to row 63, and we should have all of these lovely kisses rows, all slightly off centre. So you can see those there, and you should have just done a couple of plain treble rows using your yarn A and your yarn C. You should have also have changed over to yarn B on the last row of 62 and done your chain 1. So now we are going to work on quite an interesting bit. If you look at the front of your pattern, you will see that there are lots of little cream or white trees, depending on what yarn pack you're using. And they look quite complicated, but they're not. They are simply made out of double crochets, chains and trebles. That's it. It's using a technique which some of you might be familiar with, some of you might not. But it's actually using a technique called mosaic crochet. Now, mosaic crochet is a technique that gives you the opportunity to use different colours without having to change the yarn for each stitch, and it's just simply working in rows, skipping stitches by making chains, and then filling those stitches in later on with perhaps a treble or a double crochet, and it creates a picture. And you can create anything, but what we're going to do is just something very basic but very Christmassy and very pretty, and we are doing the little trees. So please don't look at it and think it's complicated. You follow the pattern, even if it doesn't quite make sense or you can't see how it's going to work out. Follow the pattern, watch the video. So the first part of the pattern is that we're going to do a double crochet, then we're going to chain 12, skip 11 stitches, then we're going to do another double crochet. Then we'll start the repeat. So the first part of the pattern is to do a double crochet. Oh, please make sure that you are on the right side of your work. Like, you should have your snowflakes in front of you. If you haven't, you've either missed a row, done an extra row. Please check, and also make sure that you got the correct number of 145 stitches. Otherwise you'll end up frogging a lot, like I have today. Simply because I can't read our own patterns. Anyway, back to this. So double crochet. So now what we're going to do is chain 12. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Then we are going to skip 11 stitches. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we're going to pop a double crochet into that next available stitch. So just a simple UK double crochet, and that is it. Doesn't look anything fancy, but what we're going to be doing is working in front of this long chain here, and we're going to be working into these stitches in a couple of rows time. So now we'll start the repeat, and the repeat is, so the repeat always starts from that little star or asterisk, and the repeat is to chain 11. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. I'll split my yarn, no. And then we are going to skip 10 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And then we're going to place a double crochet in that next available stitch. That's it. That's all we're doing. So we're going to repeat. The pattern says to repeat from the asterisk until the end, chain 1 and turn. So we're literally just going to be, got my hook stuck, hang on. We're chaining 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Doesn't help, I've got my yarn stuck somewhere. Okay, we're going to skip 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and work a double crochet into that next available stitch. Now believe it or not, when we start later on to fill in here with the green, these little double crochets here are going to become your little tree stumps. So that's all we're going to do all the way across. Chain 11, skip 10, double crochet all the way across. I'll come back to you if you carry on with that. I'll come back to you on row 64. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we've just finished row 63. And you literally should just have all of these chains going across with a double crochet. So row 63, just a little, actually I should have said this before, when we do get to change colour and use your yarn C, you don't necessarily have to fasten off your yarn B. Yeah, you don't need to fasten it off. But anyway, the end of that round was to chain 1. So chain 1 and then we'll move on to row 64. So row 64, when we go back on the wrong side, you literally, the pattern is pretty much the same as the last row. When you go back on mosaic crochet, you are almost just emphasizing the stitches by working the same color and very similar in terms of your stitches. So we're literally going to work a double crochet and then we're going to chain 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We skip that entire chain space and then we work a double crochet into that space there. So we're just literally emphasizing what we did on the previous row. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Skip that entire chain space and then pop a double crochet into that next one, and you're just going to do that all the way across. When you get, so it literally is just going to look like that. I know you're probably just thinking, how on earth are you going to get a tree out of that? But you will. So carry on with that all the way across. However, when you get to the end of your last yarn over, if you pull through your yarn C, so for me that is the Lincoln, chain 1, turn, and I'll see you at row 65. Hello. So row 65, so you've just done 63 and 64, and literally this is what you should have. You should have now yarned out on your last yarn over, brought in your colour, your yarn C, which for me is this Lincoln greeny colour. Row 65 is where it does start to get a little bit interesting in terms of mosaic crochet. And the first thing we're going to start filling in. We're going to start filling in here. Now we're going to be working in front of these chains, so these chains will always hang loose at the back, not loose, but they'll hang loose. So we're only going to be working in this green colour. So whenever we're going to be skipping these stitches here, so literally chaining 2 to skip and then filling in this green here. Again, you know, these are basic crochet stitches. It's just done in a way that we can create some kind of a picture. So I've got my yarn there. I've done my chain 1. The first bit of the pattern is to double crochet, so we're just going to pop a double crochet. Have I gone into that stitch? No, I haven't. Let me do that properly. Pop a double crochet into that first stitch. I haven't fastened off my yarn bee, so I'll probably just give that a little bit of a tug. And all we're going to do now is we're going to work a treble in each of these stitches here. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's it. So I mean, you can push these loops away with your finger. So that's 1, and then we're going to work the next one. 2, 3, 4, 5, and get some more yarn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we've just worked 11 trebles, but now we hit the stitch where we've got that double crochet sitting in it. So what we're going to do now is chain 2, skip that stitch, and then we start the repeat. So the repeat is, so we're skipping that, chain 2, skip, and then we're going to work 1 treble in each of the next 10 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some more yarn, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And really, this is it all the way across. The next part of that repeat is to chain 2. Oops. Is to chain 2, skip this double crochet here, and then work those 10 trebles again. So your work is gonna be looking like lots of chains and gaps, really. But carry on, work that all the way across. So repeat that until the last. So you're literally gonna repeat that until you get to the last 10 treble, and you're literally just gonna work the 10 treble in the skip stitches, then a double crochet in the last stitch, chain 1 and turn. And we're going to be using the same colour for the next row, and that'll be row 66. So you carry on, and I will finish this, and I'll see you on row 66. Right, okay, so we've just finished row 65, and all the way across you should have all these trebles with these chain 2 spaces. At the end of row 65 it said to chain 1, so chain 1 and turn. So I'm just turning, it's getting a bit big this now. Chain 1 and turn. So row 66, again, it just kind of emphasizes what we've just done in row 65. So row 66, the pattern states to double crochet 11. So we will double crochet. That's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So there's the 11 double crochet. Then it says to chain 2, so we will chain 2, skip that chain 2 space, and then we're starting the repeat, and the repeat is to do 10 double crochets all the way across, and then chain 2 to skip the next chain 2 space, and that is all we are going to do all the way across. At the end of row 66 we're going to change over to our yarn B. Remember, you don't need to cut your yarn when you do mosaic, because we're just using the same colours, so you can just run it up along the side, pick it up and drop it as you need it. So chain 2 and then skip that chain 2 space. So you've got these smaller chains. What we're going to do on the next row is we're going to, when we start working with this yarn B again, we will start filling in this and securing these chains here. But anyway, carry on with row 66. At the end, change over to your yarn B, and I will see you at row 67. And we're back again. So we're now on to row 67. So your work should be looking something like this, where you've got all of these loose chains on the back. And we are going to secure these chains on this row now, and you might start to see it start taking shape. So at the end of row 66 you should have changed over to your yarn B. Get some yarn. So on row 67, what we're going to do, we've done our chain 1, so we're going to work 1 double crochet into that first stitch. You just see how I've just carried my yarn up the side a little bit. We've got a border going on there anyway, so that will be covered. So double crochet, then we're going to chain 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Then we're going to skip 8. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to work 3 double crochets. Okay, so there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet and 3 double crochets. Then the pattern says that we're going to work a treble in the skipped stitch. So that skipped stitch is down here, so we need to work a treble into that skipped stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook into that skip stitch, and make sure we work in front of these 2 chains here. So we're working in front. So we're going to pop the hook through there and pull it through, and working in front of those chains. And by doing that, it brings it up to the same height. Okay, so we've skipped that chain, and then we're going to work another 3 double crochet. So there's 1 double crochet, 2 and 3, and you can just start to see now there's the stalk, like the stalk, is it the trunk of the tree, trunk of the tree, and then if you just cover this bit up here with that bit, you've then got the bottom of the trees. It will start to obviously show more as we go along. So we've done the 3 double crochet, so now we're going to start our repeat. So the repeat is to chain 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 4, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, then work a 3 double crochet, so that's 1 double crochet, 2 and 3. And then we're going to work a treble in that skipped stitch again in front of those 2 chains. So working a treble. Then we're going to work another double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and that gives us the bottom of our second tree. Let that to focus. All will become more clear. So that was the end of the repeat. So we'll start the repeat again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Work a double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3, then a treble in that skipped stitch in front of those chains, so you push the chains towards the back and pulling that stitch towards the front, and then it's a double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So that's the end of that repeat. So that's our 3rd tree. If you look on the back, these are fairly secure now, because we've secured it by putting the treble in there rather than it all hanging loose. So it's quite easy really. I'll do it one more time. So it's chain 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4 and work a double in the next 3. Then it's a treble in that skipped, there it is there hiding, skipped stitch, 1 treble, and then we are literally doing 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. See, when we go on to using the green again, we'll be filling this bit in here so that you can start to see the green coming up and the cream coming through. So I will carry on with row 67. You carry on as well, and I'll see you back at row 68. Okay, so we've just finished row 67, and as you can see, row 67, we've just got all of these little tree stumps there. If you can see that, that's better. Okay, you have to be a little bit careful that it doesn't pull too tight. I know we've put that in the pattern, so don't be afraid of crocheting slightly looser. Anyway, at the end of this row you should have chained 1, and I'm just going to turn my work over. Okay, and again, this, when we're coming back on ourselves, we're just emphasizing the row that we've already done. So row 68, we're going to work a double crochet in that first stitch. We're going to chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. and then we're going to skip that chain 8 space that we created, and then we're going to work 7 double crochets in the next 7 stitches. Well, 1 double crochet in the next 7 stitches, so that's 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then we're going to chain 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Skip this chain 5 space, and then our repeat starts. So sorry, our repeat doesn't start. We're just going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. And this is all we're going to do all the way across, and all that does is get us back to where we need to be, and it emphasises the stitches that we did on the previous row. So again, so that's your 7 stitches. I mean, it doesn't look great from the back, I'll give it that, but from the front, spot on. So again, chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip that chain 5 space, and then it's 7 double crochets. Now you're going to do this all the way across until the 7 stitches before the last chain space. You're going to work your 1 double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches, then you're going to chain 9 and skip the chain 9 space, but work a double crochet in that last stitch, and then changing over to yarn C again. So carry on with that, and don't forget to change over to yarn C, and I will see you at the beginning of row 69. See you there. Right, okay, so we're on to row 69, and you can just start to see here the bottom of our tree stumps and our trees forming. I think this will be the last row that I think I need to show you for mosaic crochet. I think some of you might have even started watching this already, because it is quite self-explanatory, especially with the pattern. So row 69, we're using our yarn C. The pattern says to double crochet into the first stitch after we've chained that one. Remember to chain 1, and then we're going to work 8 trebles. So that's 1 treble in each of the next 8 stitches. So we're starting to fill this in now, so that you will start to see the trees slowly but surely. So there's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, get some more yarn, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And remember, we're working in front of those chains. Now we've gotten to our tree part, so 8. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place a double crochet into the cream stitches. So that's 1 double crochet, because what we're going to start doing is actually shortening that tree so that it goes like a peak. So that's 1 double crochet, then we're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to skip 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to work a double crochet into that stitch there, and then we're going to work 4 trebles into those skip stitches from below. So we're starting to fill in those gaps, and you can start to see there, because on the next row, when we start to do the cream again, we're going to start filling this in even more. So there's 1 and 2, more yarn again, 2, sorry, fiddly, 2 and 3 and 4. So the repeat of that is double crochet. So we'll start this next repeat again. So it's a double crochet into that cream stitch, chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, work a double crochet into that last stitch, and then we're working the 4 treble into those skip stitches. So that is all we're doing, and mosaic crochet is as simple as that. You will start to see these trees forming. You don't need to fasten off at the end of each row on the mosaic, and we're just filling in spaces with chains and stitches. So the next time when we change over to the cream again, we'll be working in front of that green and filling that in even more, and you will start to see these gorgeous little trees forming. Remember, when we're coming back on ourselves, we're just emphasising the stitches that we've already done. So I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to come back to you when we finish the mosaic rows to show you what we've done, and start the next part of part 2. So see you there. If you've got any questions, please shout out on the Facebook group, All Things Crochet Sanctuary. Plenty of people there to help you. But I'll see you when we get on to the next part of the pattern. Hello and welcome back. So I'm hoping you've gotten up to row 82 where you finished your last half treble row, and you should have these really cute Christmas trees. Well, not Christmas trees, well, I don't know why I'm calling them Christmas trees, but little trees all in your blanket. And how cute are they? And how easy is mosaic crochet as well? So I have completed up to row 83, and at the end of row 83 the pattern tells me to change over to my yarn A, which I haven't done because I finished this late last night, so I will do that now. Row 83 is literally a double crochet all the way across. I don't think I need to go through that with you, because it is just literally changing over to your colour A, which for me is lipstick, and just working a double crochet all the way across. So if you carry on with that now, I will see you at row 84. Okay, so we're now we've just completed row 83, which was a double crochet all the way across using your yarn A, which for me is lipstick. We're now going to start row 84. So I'm just going to chain 1 and turn my work so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so where's my yarn? Sorry. Okay. So row 84, we have chained 1. We are going to work a double crochet into the first stitch. Okay. Now we're going to go straight into the repeat then. So the repeat is a half treble in each of the next 2 stitches. So we yarn over, insert the hook into the next available stitch, and we do it again in the next stitch. So that's a half treble, and then we have to work a treble in each of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert the hook into the next available stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We need to do that again in the next stitch. Okay, and then we need to work 3 double trebles. So that's 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. So for a double treble, we yarn over twice, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we do that again in the next stitch. So remember, for a double treble we yarn over twice and again in the next stitch. So as you can see from here, our stitches are getting taller and higher, so we're starting that to hit that peak again. The next part of the pattern is another 2 treble. So yarn over, insert the hook into the next available stitch, and again into the next one. And then we're back down to the half trebles. So that's a yarn over, insert the hook, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and we're doing that twice. So into the next stitch. So you see we've hit that peak and we're coming back down again, and then we're going to work 3 double crochet. So that's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And that is the end of the repeat. So we work this all the way across until we have 4 stitches remaining. So we'll just go through we'll just run through that again. So we're starting the repeat again. So that's a half treble in each of the next 2 stitches, and then it's a treble in each of the next 2 stitches, and then it's a double treble where we yarn over twice in each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1 and 2 and 3. Oh. So hit that peak bit again, and then we want a treble in each of the next 2 stitches. And then we want a half treble in each of the next 2 stitches. So remember, with a half we just pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and then it's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And this is it, just all the way across as the pattern states. So if you carry that on all the way across until you've got 4 stitches left over, in the last 4 stitches you're going to work a half treble in each of the next 2, and then a treble in each of the next 2. Then you're going to change over to your yarn B, and yarn B for me is cream. So if you carry on with that, I will see you at row 85. Right, okay, so we've just finished row 84, and you should have these waves now in your yarn A. At the end of that row you should have changed over to yarn B, which for me is cream, and we're going to, for the first part of this row 85, we are going to, you should have chained 1, and then we're going to work a half treble in the first stitch, and then a half treble in the next stitch, and then we start into the repeat, and the repeat is 2 trebles. That's 1 treble in each of the next 2 stitches, trebles, and then we're going to work 3 double trebles. So that's 1 double treble in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 double treble, just like we did before really. We're just starting to fill in the dips, if you like, from the previous row, so that it kind of all evens back out again. And there's my third double treble, and then the next bit is a treble. That's one treble in each of the next 2 stitches. Like so, and then it is a half treble in each of the next 2 stitches. Oops. That's a half treble, and then we're going to work a double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. Sorry about that creaking door, it's really hot here today, but windy as well. The door's open, so you can just see that it's kind of filling in all those stitches that we did previously. So that was your 3 double crochet, and then it's a half treble in each of the next 2 stitches, and that is your repeat. So we will do that again. We'll repeat that again. So it's 2 treble, 1 and 2, and then it's 3 double trebles, there's your 3 double trebles, then 2 trebles, oops, am I in the right stitch? Yeah. Then 2 half trebles. Oh, I can't see through that lens, sorry. I keep popping my head around the side of the camera. There's my second half treble, and then it's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and that's it all the way across. But as you can see, we are filling in what we did previously. So at the end of row 85, you're going to change over to yarn C, which for me is Lincoln. And you're going to, on row 86, you're going to repeat these stitches again, then change over to yarn A. On row 87, you're going to work the same stitches again, but using yarn A. At the end of row 87, you're going to change over to yarn B. And it's the same for 88, and again for 89 and 90. So, I mean, I'm not going to carry on with showing you this, because I think, you know, I only needed to show you the first few rows. So this was row 85. If you carry on with row 85, row 86, 87, 88, 89 and 90, and I will see you at row 91. Hello and welcome back to the Christmas Cowl. So I have completed up to row 91, and row 91 was just a straight double crochet in each stitch across, but these are how your rows should kind of be looking. They should be looking like this, nice and wavy, which I think is really pretty. So I've done row 91 was a double crochet all the way across, and it's changing over to yarn C on the last yarn over, which I haven't actually done just yet. It's changing over to yarn C, which is my Lincoln. Row 92, I'm not actually going to show you that because it's just a half treble all the way across in yarn C. Row 93 again is a half treble all the way across in yarn C. I I will come back to you on row 94, because row 94 is when we carry on with the same colour yarn, see, but we start to do the double treble bubbles. So I just want to show you how to do those. If you want to carry on, if you've not done row 91, do row 91, double crochet all the way across, work on your half treble row for 92 and your half treble row for 93, and I'll see you back at row 94. But I just wanted to show you how that looks all the way across. Now don't forget, the double crochet rows and the half treble rows and the treble rows are just a really good way to make sure that you've got the correct amount of stitches, which should be 145, because you're going to need those when we move on to part 3. You will need the correct amount of stitches. If you're one out, pop one in, or decrease by one if you know it's not a big deal, or you might just need to go all the way back again and find out where you've made a mistake. But you should have 145, but please don't be frightened to squeeze one in if you've not. Honestly, it's supposed to be enjoyable, not stressful. So yeah, that's row 91. I'll come back to you on row 94. See you shortly. Okay, so we are back, and we've just finished row 93, well 92 and 93, which were both half treble rows in your yarn C. So I'm just going to show you some of row 94. So row 94 is where we start to do some nice double treble bubbles. So still using your yarn C. The first part of the pattern is to, no, I haven't chained one, so sorry, chain one, and then we're going to work 6 double crochets. So that's 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So this is 2 and 3, move that away, and 4 and 5 and 6. Now we're going to work a double treble bubble. So this is the first start of the repeat, and the repeat is literally a double treble bubble and then 5 double crochets. So double treble bubble, we're going to yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've got 2 loops on the hook. Then we're going to yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, you've got 3 on the hook. Yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so we're going to do that another 2 times. So yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've actually got 5 loops on the hook. Now one more time, yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to yarn over, so we've got 6 loops, sorry, then yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. And then we're going to make a double crochet into the next stitch, and when you do that, it creates this huge bubble on the other side of your work. So then we're going to work 5 double crochets, but I've already worked one, so that was 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so we'll do that one more time. We'll do this double treble bubble. Let's yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Don't finish it off. We'll do that again. So you're literally making 5 incomplete double trebles. So that's 3, and again, 4, and one more time is 5. There you go. And then we yarn over, pull through all of those loops on the hook. Oh, we've got a bit caught then. And then you're going to work 5 double trebles. You see, you got these massive. I love them. Right, that's 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I don't think I need to show you those anymore. You just look at how huge those are. They are amazing. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with these, going all the way across. So it's 1 double treble, then 5 double crochets, 1 double treble bobble, then 5 double crochets. Work that all the way across. I will see you for row 95 when I show you how to work a half treble into these stitches on the way back. So see you at row 95. Okay, so we're now on, we've just completed row 94, and look at those gorgeous big bubbles. That's what the BB stands for, big bubbles, for those that did Pandemonium. So we're now on to the right side of our work. We weren't asked to change colour, but what I want to do for row 95 is just show you how to work into the back of those bubbles. So row 95 is just literally a straight half treble all the way across. So I've chained 1, and then we're going to make 1 half treble. So that's 1 in there, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and I know there's one more there before that, so you've got one more sneaky one just hid behind that bubble, and 6. Then working into the back of the bubble, so you've got the front of your bubble there, and what we're going to do is, see at the back you've just got a stitch there, so just yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over. So there's your stitch into the back of your bubble. So in between each bubble you should have 5 double crochets to work a half treble into. And that is all we're going to do. Get some more yarn. All the way across is just work that half treble. And I think I've got one more there. And at the end of this you should have your 145 stitches, so just into the back of that bubble there. It should help it to pop nicely as well. And that's it, all the way across. So row 96 is actually the last row of part 2. Row 96 is just a half treble all the way across, and again it's a good opportunity at that point to just check that you have 145 stitches. At the end of row 96, on the last yarn over, you need to change over to yarn A, which for me is red, and that will take us to part 3. So I hope you've enjoyed part 2. For me, I think it's been absolutely brilliant. I love the mosaic trees. I think it's been great. So yeah, I'll see you at part 3. Thanks for watching.